welcome to the Solid Signal podcast for the week of February 29th, 2016. And how weird it feels to say February 29th, right? It's the sort of thing you only get to say once every 4 years, and it doesn't quite seem real. You know, last night I was watching the Oscars, and I had this idea for a podcast that I was going to call Midnight in the Garden of Solid Signal. And I wasn't quite sure what that meant, and then I decided to do something else and think and whatever. And then I thought, well, okay, well, it's February 29th, and I have a real opportunity to talk about something I'd only talk about every 4 years. But then I realized I talk about everything all the time. And especially if you're listening to this podcast, you're just listening to me ramble on and on and on. And I do appreciate it, and it's wonderful that you do, and I really thank you. And I should probably say that more, but on the other hand, I also don't want to waste your time, and so should probably get down to business. So after all of the back and forth last night, in my mind, I decided to go back to a more core topic, and that is cord cutting. No doubt you've heard the term cord cutting, and you may even be a cord cutter, and you're trying to decide, is this the year that you're just going to go 100% cord cutting? And should you? And really, that it's your decision. The best part about the television landscape today is it's your decision. If you want to load up on the best that pay television has to offer and pay a lot of money for the programming that you want, you can do that. And on the other hand, if you just want to put up an antenna and spend $0 a month, you can still get a lot of great entertainment, new stuff, old stuff, classic stuff. And if you want to do something in the middle, do mostly antenna and a little bit of streaming, you can do that. And you can mix and match. And that's what's totally cool about it. Personally, I think that where we're going is toward a more cord cutting oriented kind of world. I think we're going to see more streaming options, more a la carte options, more options in general. But I think that the days when someone in the middle class, as it were, is compelled to pay over $125 for pay television are probably dwindling. It's something that if you want to pay for it, you can pay for it, which is great. But most folks are going to find that the entertainment that they want is available through a mix of antenna, a more modest pay television package, and streaming. And I think that's going to make everybody happy. In fact, I think that when it comes down to local television channels, 15 years ago, that was something that satellite television companies knew they had to have. And today, less so. If it's something that you can incorporate an antenna in and get great reception anyway, what you're doing effectively is taking away a lot of the power that these local channels have over pay TV companies, which is going to drive rates down, because really a lot of those high rates come from providing local channels and providing regional sports networks, which I've said before, I think regional sports networks are on the cusp of collapsing because they've just gotten too greedy. It's such an interesting time for television, and I guess really kind of what interests me at this point is that we talk about cord cutting. It's been a topic we talk about for a couple of years now, but we can't just call it cord cutting anymore. It's so complex. It's almost like we should call it entertaining diversity or entertainment streaming choice something, super happy fun hour. I don't know. There's an interesting idea for a contest, and maybe I'll do something like that. Hey, listeners, at the end of this podcast, leave a comment on social media, anywhere that you find this podcast listed, saying what we should stop when we stop calling it cord cutting, what we should start calling it. If we're not going to call it cord cutting, are we going to call it entertainment diversity? Are we going to call it super duper choice? You decide. I'll come up with something worth about $25 to give away at solidsignal.com if just leave a comment. And it's just another way to kind of press forward and expand this podcast to a new level, and just something to look forward to. Leave those comments and I'll talk to you soon.